Hi everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel today. I'm Lori Whitlock. In this video we're going to put together this darling little house that fits inside this jar and this snow globe. These are such cute little decorations for the holidays. I cut out all the pieces for this project with my Silhouette digital cutting machine. I offer these files in SVG format in my SVG shop for all machines that can open and use SVG files. So if you have a Brother Scan and Cut, if you have a Cricut, if you have a Silhouette, you can make this adorable project. So first let me tell you about the little jars. I will put a link in the description for these jars. This particular one comes in a 6-pack. I bought it on Amazon. You can just see that there were 6 in this package. They come nicely wrapped individually in these little protective bags. They're very cute because they have this aluminum lid on them, which I think is darling. This other snow globe that I have here also came from Amazon. I'll also put the link to this in the description. This one has a little different type of a lid. You can actually, I believe, put water in this snow globe. We're not going to do that, obviously, with our paper crafts, but the lid slips out like this, and you can put snow in there and your little house, make your scene, and then it seals up with that lid, and you can just screw this on. And in the file for the one that fits in this particular project, it also includes the circle and band to make a little covering lid for that base. I will put the link to this exact snow globe in the description of this video and to this exact jar. These houses fit perfectly in these. They would probably also work well in a mason jar, like a wide mouth mason jar. For instance, this is the size of a wide mouth jar lid. I believe that would fit inside a regular mason jar as well. So totally up to you. You can get creative with these. I wanted to make them detailed and tiny so that you could use them inside of little jar projects like this. I've also purchased some fine snow in a jar, and I got this at Hobby Lobby. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon as well. I can find some and put a link in this description of the video for you as well. I've used a little bit of glitter cardstock for some of the pieces, like the roof and the door here, also the fence here, obviously the roof on all 3 of these. And I've just used pretty much scraps of cardstock for the bases and for all the other little embellishments. In fact, here's the base for one of the houses, just this red house here. It's really not very big. I mean, it's skinny enough that you could even probably cut this on a Cricut Joy. So it's a tiny, cute little project and super easy to put together. Let me just show you really quick how I put them in these jars. I just filled the snow in on that part, and I put a little adhesive. You can kind of see the snow sticking to it here, down here. And if you'd like to raise it a little bit, you can put pop dots or a couple layers of pop dots on there, and then put it on the inside of that lid. And then you can just screw it into your jar. And then when you flip it over, your snow will fall into place. So that's how I put the little church inside of this jar. The church is too tall, or maybe not, sorry, not too tall, but too wide for this snow globe. It's too wide to put in there. So if you wanted to scale that down, you could fit it inside of this snow globe as well. But right now, as it's sized, it would fit only in this larger mouth jar. Let me get the lid back off of this snow globe. Bear with me for a moment. Again, same type of thing. I don't want to have all that snow fall out, but you could just put a little adhesive on that base and go ahead and slide it in, and you can see that this is the one that fits inside this snow globe. It's the little greenhouse. It's small enough and square enough that it'll fit inside that circular opening. So it would probably fit inside a small mouth jar as well. if you wanted to do that. But you can just put some adhesive on the bottom of that house, maybe pop dot it as well, just to raise it a little bit. But be careful because you don't have a, unlimited height. You can't raise it too high, or else it will hit the top of the jar. So you can play around with the placement of that, but that's kind of how I used these snow globes to put our little houses inside. So in order to assemble this piece, I actually didn't cut that out again, but here it is made out of a couple of different colors. You can just kind of see, here's what the red one looks like on that snow globe, and here's what the green one looks like. And you could put some adhesive on that to make it stay, but it's a pretty perfect fit, so it'll stay quite well without any adhesive. You could get creative. That'd be really cute with the buffalo plaid on the bottom as well, or this floral. Get creative and cover that bottom. It just makes it look a little more finished, like it's an actual snow globe. But to put that together, it's just a circle that goes on the inside, a circle that goes on the outside, and a band with glue tabs. So you'll just kind of train that band in a circle, and I like to glue the inside piece in first, and then once you're done, you just glue right here on this tab here, and then go ahead and glue that outer panel on, and then let that dry really well, and then you have your little lids for your snow globe. So let's go ahead and get this little house put together. I'll just put the houses here for reference. I'm going to pull the church back out of this jar. Just be aware that the snow does get a little messy, and you might have to clean up a few times as you're working with these, putting them in and out or whatever. But that's okay. We'll just scoop it all back in and put it back in our jar. Okay, so let's get all of our pieces out and we will get started on our little red house. So here is the base of the house, and you're just going to fold on all those square marks towards the inside. I like to use a bone folder to get a nice crisp fold on each of those lines. And fold that side panel down and the other roof line in. Just go back over those with our bone folder. If you buy the SVG from my shop, you're going to get a solid and a dashed scoreline version. So if you don't want to cut those dashes, you can use your scoring wheel or scoring stylus to score those. If you're using a silhouette, you can just set the blade depth to be more shallow, just to give you a very slight score on that line instead of all the way through. Those are always an option. But to be honest with you, the score lines don't really bother me once they're all folded up and made. You don't even really see them. So cutting those dashes is sometimes a little bit easier because it makes it easier to find them and to get those folds precise. Okay, the one thing we'll want to do is get our door in place so we can put our brad through that hole. Or you can put a little epoxy dot or brad, either one, doesn't matter. But I have a brad in this case, so I am going to go ahead and glue my door on and put my brad in that hole and open it up. I'm using an Eileen's tacky glue pen on this door, so I'm just going to go ahead and flip that over. And I like this pen just because it's got a fine tip on it, and I'm able to control precise amounts of glue on these small pieces. I also like my little needle nose glue bottle that I use in a lot of my videos as well. But I do like this glue as well. Oh goodness, I just dropped that right on the table. Let me grab a pin to help me lift that. And I'm going to line that up right here on the front of the house, lining up the windows and the door handle hole. Kind of use those windows as a guide as to where to push and glue that down. Bone folder is nice here too to add a little pressure when you need to. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put our little doorknob on, and like I said, you could use an epoxy dot or a little brad. Just open that brad up on the inside And now we can go ahead and put this house together. It might be a little bit easier though to go ahead and put all of our window casings on. So I think I'll do that before. I mean, you don't have to, but I do like having the table to push down against. So let's grab all those window casings really quick. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some adhesive on these windows. Okay, if you get a little bit of adhesive, this Eileen's is pretty good to rub off, kind of like a rubber cement once it's dry. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in place and let that dry. And then we'll worry about cleaning that up here in just a minute. Go ahead and work on the next one. Okay, we have the second window. We're just going to go ahead and glue that down. And we'll work on the third one. Put that third window in place. Well, now that that first one is a little bit more dry, I'm going to go back. I have this little gummy adhesive eraser. Works really well. I'm just going to go and clean up any extra adhesive that was left behind. I will put a link in the description for this adhesive eraser as well. It is probably one of the most handy tools that I have. But it works particularly well with tape runners, and this Eileen's glue works really well. Some glues it doesn't work quite as well with. Okay, now we just have the little round window here. And there's not a round window on the front, there's actually a wreath. So we're going to put that in place while we're here as well. So we'll go ahead and put a little adhesive on that round window. Flip that over, glue that in place. Put a little pressure on that. Okay, we'll grab our wreath, which we actually have already put the bow on, just a tiny dot of glue there, and put that tiny little bow in place. We'll flip that over. And glue that down. And of course, I need to clean up a little more adhesive here. Let's see if it's dry enough. Yeah, it works better if you'll just let that dry a little bit, and then it just rubs it right off. Okay, we'll call that good. Go ahead and put our house together. Okay, we are going to just fold the whole house in half and put a little adhesive on this glue tab here. Whoa, that was quite a lot of glue. Try and spread that around. And then we'll just fold it in half, and it should be nice and square. That's exactly what you want. That means your house is going to be square. You can even just open it up and fold it in half here as well. Give that a little pressure, let it dry. Okay, you can see how cute this is going to be. Just go ahead and fold those two sides in on the bottom. And I like to fold the back in and then the front. That way you have a nice clean front. You don't see the seam on the front of the house. Totally up to you. That's kind of my preference. I'm going to go ahead and put a little adhesive on these inner layers. And then this outer layer. And close it up. And I'm just going to set it down on the table and use my bone folder to put a little pressure on the inside here. Glue everything down. Okay, now we have the roof. line, you just go ahead and fold those 4 glue tabs in and those 2 sides up, and that forms the top of our house, and we're ready to put our roof on top. So let's go ahead and put some adhesive on those 4 glue tabs. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, and you might just make sure that those sides of the houses don't go in too far. So you might need a little pin or something to pull them back out into position if they're trying to slip in too far. Or you could actually probably put those glue tabs on the outside of these roof pieces because they'll be covered by the roof, the white roof here in just a minute. But if you hold it just right, it'll be fine to glue it on the outside. Okay, once that's dry, we're ready to put our roof on. The roof is cut out of glitter cardstock. It just folds right in half. Use our bone folder to get a nice crease on that. And we can just coat that whole roof with a little adhesive. And if you'll just center that, there's a little overlap on the front and back. And press that in place. And now we're ready to embellish. Our basic house is put together. We need to put a chimney on. So the chimney looks like this. So you're just going to take that and fold everything in one direction. And the glue tabs as well. That angled one is probably the most difficult one to get folded. Okay. So again, you can grab your bone folder and try and get a good crease on those. All right, so if you look closely at this little chimney here, you can just see it angles like this, and you're going to use these glue tabs on this side to glue it to the house. So you just need to overlap that back piece there, and we'll just put some adhesive on that. And you can just put your finger in there and get some good pressure on that. You can lay it flat. Just make sure you get that to glue nice and smooth. Get a good seal on that. And then push those little pieces up. And we actually don't need both of those glue tabs. You could trim one of those off if you would like, which I wish I would have done. I'm just going to tuck one up inside. There we go. We'll put that inside one in. And we'll put this outer one. Actually, I'm just going to tuck them both up inside there. Get them out of the way. There we go. And then we'll just put some adhesive on those. That actually works the best, just to get those out of the way. Whatever works for you, though, is just fine. Okay. So I have some adhesive on that, and you can just put that wherever you would like. This one's just kind of here on the middle side of that roof. And you want to, in fact, you can see that this roof is trying to lift just a little bit. You might want to use tape runner on that. I don't know. I think the glitter cardstock doesn't love this glue, but you'll have to just really hold that in place while it dries. And same with this little chimney. You're just going to want to put that in place and just hold it there while it dries. And you can just kind of see, there's where it's placed. You can put it wherever you want, a little higher, a little lower. I would just be careful not to get it too high, or it's not going to fit in your snow globe very well. Okay, I'm going to try and hold that while I pull all these other little pieces over. We have a snowman. We have some fence pieces. You can embellish with these or not, do whatever you want. We have a tree. This is kind of the stuff that's in the files for you to work with. You can see we just put this little fence piece here on this one and wrapped it around to the windows, added a tree to the back and a snowflake. There's some extra snowflakes in the file. You can add them to the chimney, to the roof, whatever you'd like to do. But basically this little house is put together just the same. We've just rotated the door to this flat side instead of a window, and we've put a smaller chimney on it. So it's really, truly quite simple, fairly similar in almost the same in construction. Same with the house, this little chapel here. We've just varied the windows, and instead of a chimney that's just straight on the side, it actually has a peak there in the middle and goes right at the top of the roof. But it assembles very similarly. It also has a little roof on top of that. So I think you can figure that out after watching this assembly. But I hope you enjoy making these darling miniature houses. You could even turn them into ornaments for your tree or a little tree. You could make a little village out of them and vary the colors. Whatever you want to do. This is just such a fun project. I hope you have fun making them, and make sure you go check out the materials list for all of the things that you're going to need to put them inside of the snow globes or the jars. You'll want some adhesive, maybe some adhesive eraser, the tape runner, all of those things to put this together. Pretty simple. I'll put the link in the description to where you can purchase the cutting files. If you need any help opening them or using them, please contact us. We're always happy to help. We want to make sure our customers are happy with everything that you purchase and that you know how to put it together, and that you can open it and cut it on your Cricut or your Silhouette or your Brother Scan and Cut or whatever machine you might have. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you all in another video. Bye-bye.